Good evening. Thanks for joining us on India Business Hour. I'm Shireen Bhan. The headlines we're tracking for you tonight. The Railway Board calls for a CBI investigation into the Odisha train derailment that left 275 people dead and 900 injured. More than 50 hours after the collision, passenger trains resume operations on restored tracks. Positive start to the week on the Lal Street. The mid-cap index rises for the 11th straight day, ending at a record high. Nomura says the Indian economy is set for the best decade of growth since 2010. Crude oil prices rise after Saudi Arabia announces voluntary production cut by 1 million barrels per day starting July. The move comes after OPEC nations made no changes to planned oil production on Sunday. Popular cough syrups pulled off the shelves after the government bans 14 fixed-dose drug combinations. These include pediatric syrups that contain opioid pain reliever codeine. Industry sources say products worth 500 crore rupees are likely to have been impacted. The new CII President R. Dinesh expects the Monetary Policy Committee to hit pause this week, but calls for a change in stance from withdrawal of accommodation to neutral. He expects GDP growth to touch 7.5% this fiscal. That's an exclusive.
I don't see a component of one-third price into play for next few quarters at least. It will be by and large volume-driven conversation going forward. So it will be volume-led growth.
The CFO of Hindustan Unilever, Ritesh Tiwari, expects volumes to drive growth in the second half of this fiscal, says the company's cut the prices of soaps, detergents and shampoos as commodity prices start to ease. That's another exclusive. Civil Aviation Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia takes stock of rising airfares post the Go First grounding, urges airlines to keep a rational approach while fixing fares, asks them to increase capacity in sectors with higher demand. Sakshi Malik, Vinesh Fogart and Bajrang Punia, wrestlers at the forefront of the protests against the Federation Chief Brij Bhushan Singh, resumed their duties in the railways. Sakshi Malik rejects reports that she's withdrawn from the ongoing protest, tweets they will not back down till justice is delivered. The wrestlers had met Home Minister Amit Shah over the weekend. Apple could be on the cusp of revealing its biggest bet since the iPhone. The company is likely to launch mixed reality headsets and enter the metaverse in what is potentially the riskiest bet under CEO Tim Cook. IIT Madras remains India's top-ranked educational institute for the fifth time. Indian Institute of Sciences in Bengaluru emerges as the best university again, followed by Delhi's JNU and Jamia Millia Islamia. Delhi University's Miranda House emerges as the top college according to the Union Ministry of Education's latest rankings. Also on the show, we kick off a new series on the rise in cybercrimes and how you can protect yourself. A special report on how India's growing comfort with online shopping is being exploited by sophisticated frauds coming up. Well, let's start the day's market action. The Sensex gaining 240 points. The Nifty added 60 points despite some profit booking that we saw in the late trade. The Nifty is now closer to the 18,600 mark. The mid-cap index gaining for the 11th straight session, ending at a record closing high. The Nifty Bank index also managed to gain in trade. Now, brokerage firm Nomura expects India's economy to grow at a compounded annual growth rate of 6.6% from financial year 2023 all the way to 2030. This will mark the strongest pace of growth since 2010. Nomura is betting on the supply chain shift and higher capital expenditure as the key drivers. Now, this 6.6% growth rate predicted by Nomura will be slightly slower than the pace of growth clocked between 2003 and 2010. Crude oil prices on the rise after Saudi Arabia announced voluntary production cuts from July. The decision comes after an OPEC meeting on Sunday, where all nations have agreed to make no changes to planned oil production. India's services sector activity remained robust in May despite a slight drop compared to April. Now, India's service sector purchasing managers index of 61.2 marked the second highest print in 13 years. The services sector accounts for over 50% of India's GDP. R. Dinesh, the new president of the Confederation of Indian Industry, expects the Reserve Bank Monetary Policy Committee to continue to hit pause when they announce their rate decision later this week. However, the hope is that the MPC will change its stance from withdrawal of accommodation to neutral. Take a look.
We are definitely saying that we want the pause to continue, but the stance to, as you said, to change from hawkish to neutral, and that, of course, that is more helping the perception of what the future is going to be. And I think the RBI governor, when we recently met, was very clear in saying that he is obviously not the deciding person, but what happens at the ground level, especially with inflation, is going to be the important factor. I think from CII's perspective, we do understand and we believe that inflation has to be kept in check. And right now, we see all the right signals coming from not just from the market, but also from our survey, which we did with our CEOs. But having said that, the target he has set for himself is 4.5%. And therefore, we have to wait and watch and see by October that it comes to that level or below that level. Then we can look at a reduction in interest.
And you can catch that interview with CII President R. Dinesh on the Newsmaker at 10 p.m. right here on CNBC-TV18. Monsoon in Kerala has been delayed by another 3 to 4 days. In a statement, the Indian Met Department has said that while it predicted that the monsoon would hit Kerala by the 4th of June, it now anticipates a further delay. On to the big story that we continue to track. At least 275 people have now died, over 900 injured in the horrific accident that involved 3 trains, including the Coromandel Express. It is said to be one of the worst train accidents in India's history. More than 50 hours after the tragedy, passenger trains have resumed operations on the repaired tracks. The Railway Board has called for a CBI probe into the mishap. The board has said that a signalling interference has been identified as the main cause of the accident. Rakesh Chopra, former member of the Railway Board, however, said that the board could have allowed the Commissioner for Railway Safety to complete the inquiry before calling for a CBI probe.
जो कुछ अब तक का एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव इंफॉर्मेशन मिली है उस सब को ध्यान में रखते हुए आगे की इंक्वायरी के लिए आगे के इन्वेस्टिगेशन के लिए इस केस को इस पूरे मामले को सीबीआई के पास देने का रेलवे बोर्ड की तरफ से रिकमेंडेशन किया जा रहा है.
We could have probably waited and then gone to the CBI. My view is that, and my reason is very simple, that if this undermines the Commissioner of Railway Safety's inquiry, what is going to happen is the very glitches, the very technical faults that might have taken place, which might really be technical, will be all overlooked. Commissioner of Railway Safety's inquiries and the results that come out have been helping the railways to improve the safety systems. So let us not undermine that.
The most important development today is that the railway tracks in Bahanagar Bazaar, this is now restored. As you can see behind me, the trains have started plying. So the main concern which was there, more than 140 trains were cancelled. This route where this tragic incident took place, where this accident took place, this line is now restored, and you can see that the train is plying from morning. A lot of trains have passed by. So this is one thing which is very important development today. Along with that, the Commissioner of Railway Safety, he is actually his team, and he is asking, he's interrogating various people from railways. That is also the inquiry part which is important. And also, this inquiry has been handed over to CBI. So CBI will initiate an FIR. But the thing is that the relay room, which is a very important aspect, that whether there is a human intervention or not in this case, that is the point which is important now.
Well, the probe underway, but operations have resumed on that line. Now, the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Railways met on the 25th of May to discuss the issue of railway safety. A member of the panel and Rajya Sabha MP from the Aam Aadmi Party, Sandeep Pathak, said only 65 trains are currently covered under the new anti-collision system and has called on the government to invest more to tighten rail safety.
In India, we have the total number of trains are about 22 to 23,000 in number. So out of these many trains, only 65 trains have been covered with the Kavach or anti-collision devices. Focus and invest a lot of money into this anti-collision devices. Other than that, there is one more device called anti-derailment device, which also should not be costing a lot. We should so we need to invest a lot of money in these safety measures.
And you can catch the entire conversation on rail safety at 9:30 p.m. right here on News Centre on CNBC-TV18. And staying with the story, Reliance Foundation has announced a 10-point relief measure for those impacted by the Odisha train accident. The foundation has mobilized disaster management teams to aid relief efforts. Reliance Foundation will provide free fuel for ambulances that are dealing with the disaster, also making provision of free ration supplies, including flour, sugar, dal, rice, salt and cooking oil for the next 6 months for the impacted families. Well, on to a CNBC-TV18 exclusive tonight. Hindustan Unilever CFO Ritesh Tiwari expects volumes to drive growth in the second half of this fiscal. Speaking to CNBC-TV18's Shilpa Ranipeta, Tiwari also said that the FMCG major has in fact cut prices of soaps, detergents and shampoos as commodity prices have now begun to ease. Take a look.
For FMCG business overall market, long period, look at last 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, growth typically comes 2/3 from volume and 1/3 from price. Yeah. Given the amount of inflation that we had seen for last 1.5 to 2 years' time, growth has been led by pricing. What will change going forward as commodities are tapering off? We are seeing sequential declines as well in many large commodities. Price will taper off, and going forward, the growth will be volume-led. Within the flat volume, urban is growing by 3%, rural is still declining by 3%.
Well, that's HUL. Civil Aviation Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia has urged airline executives to keep a rational approach before fixing fares. Scindia has convened this meeting to take stock of skyrocketing airfares post the Go First grounding. And the minister has also asked airlines to increase capacity in sectors with higher demand. EdTech startup Byju's is planning to launch the initial public offering of its subsidiary Akash in 2024. The appointment of the merchant bankers for the IPO has not been announced yet. The announcement comes as Byju's is staring at a deadline to pay $40 million of interest on the loan that it raised in November of 2021. The other big story tonight, the centre has banned 14 fixed-dose combination drugs, including those used for treating common infections like cough and fever. The government has said that there was no therapeutic justification for these combinations, adding that they may in fact involve risk. Ekta Batra standing by now to explain this to us. Ekta, we learned that the ban list includes some very popular cough syrup combinations as well. Take us through the financial impact of this ban and what is likely to be hit the most.
Thanks for that. Well, some popular cough syrups have been pulled off the shelves after the government banned 14 fixed-dose drug combinations over the weekend. In a move which was in the making for the past few months, the government, citing lack of therapeutic rationale, banned mainly medicines used to treat coughs, colds and respiratory infections. They clamped down mainly on cough syrups, banning at least 10 combinations available in the market, including all those that contain codeine, which is an opioid pain reliever. Before we move ahead, what exactly is a fixed-dose combination or FDC? An FDC combines more than one drug in a single pill or syrup. India is one of the few countries that allows fixed-dose combinations. While the advantage of fixed-dose combinations is that it is easier to administer and makes the medicines more affordable, there can be irrational combinations. Hence, the combination drugs can not only result in misuse, especially say for codeine-based medicines, which have narcotic properties, but also build resistance to certain molecules present in the drug. Now, according to industry sources, a total of around 500 crores worth of products have been impacted. Companies such as Abbott, which is the private arm, and Mankind have seen a significant impact. For example, Abbott's Fencidil Cough Linctus is an important brand for the company, is expected to be under the scanner. Mankind's Codistar, which is expected to be around 140 crores in terms of a brand size with 25% market share, and pediatric syrup Teddy Cough are expected to be impacted as well. Glenmark's Ascoril C, generating 19 to 20 crores of sales annually, is also expected to be under the scanner. Now, Cipla has indicated that brands Coughdex Syrup, Coughdex Plus Syrup and Coughtin Syrup are under the ban, while Dr. Reddy's has indicated none of the ZX brands are under the scanner and have not been promoting Dialex DC, which is on the list. The reason the impact might be limited is because the government banned 344 fixed-dose combinations in March 2016. Companies then became wary of fixed-dose combinations. More so, they were aware of the government's thinking on the FDCs in question, hence not only changed combinations in time, but stopped marketing drugs that could have been impacted. Lastly, pediatricians have welcomed the move as they believe while many of these combination drugs, though have been used for years, saw a sudden spurt in usage for children during and post-COVID-19, with many of them available over the counter or easily accessible even without a prescription.
Ekta, many thanks for decoding that move for us. Cybercrime is rising, and with that, fraud is getting more and more tech-savvy and creative. The authorities are having to work extra hard to keep up. The government cybercrime portal claims that on an average it receives 3,500 complaints of cyber fraud every single day. In our first installment of our new series CyberCon, the CNBC-TV18 Cybercrime Tracker, Santiagora uncovers how India's rising comfort with online shopping and e-commerce is being exploited by sophisticated frauds. Take a look.
Forty-eight-year-old Isha Kashmiri is a businesswoman and hotelier. During the COVID-19 triggered lockdowns, she turned to online shopping and loved the ease this offered. But in 2020, Isha came across a shopping website which offered what appeared to be good quality products at extremely reasonable prices. She was in for disappointment.
That's when I, looked up the website on the net and checked the reviews. And I saw a lot of reviews which said that it's a scam. Site was on. It was, on the website. So I was sure that there were other people also who were going to purchase, who were going to get duped. And I thought that I should immediately try to do something about it.
Isha filed an FIR with the Mumbai police, and the Mumbai police cyber cell arrested the accused. The site was taken down and Isha got her money back. But not all victims of such cyber fraud are so lucky, nor are such online frauds restricted to online shopping websites. 30-year-old Dhwani Mehta is the chief community manager at Mumbai's famous studios. On the 17th of May, she came across a sick bird and wanted to help it. Her online search for bird rescue agencies threw up a website. She checked for obvious signs of fraud and found none. The site appeared genuine and secure. It even had a toll-free number. When she called the number, she did not get through. But she received a call back from another number and the person assured her of assistance. She was asked to fill out basic information for follow-up purposes. But when she did, the help never came. The bird died. 4 days later, on the 21st of May, she got an SMS from her bank saying 99,000 rupees had been debited from her account. But for Dhwani, filing a complaint was not as smooth.
For me to even file a regular FIR took about 7 hours. I was obviously sent across to various police stations across Mumbai, starting right from VP Road to Bombay Central to Worli and finally NM Joshi. It took about 10-12 days for my papers to even reach the NM Joshi police station.
Dhwani's case is still under investigation and she is yet to recover any of the money. But she is hopeful she'll get justice. Every state's police force has dedicated departments to look into such cases. In Mumbai, both the Maharashtra police and the Mumbai police have a cybercrime department. But these are swamped with cases. In Maharashtra alone, 2,236 cases of cyber frauds were registered between January 2023 and April 2023, against 8,244 cases filed through 2022. This 2022 number is more than double the 4,967 cases registered pre-pandemic in 2019. Cases have risen sharply at the national level as well. According to NCRB data, 27,248 cases of cyber fraud were filed across the country in 2018. This number rose to 44,735 in 2019, to 50,035 in 2020, and further to 52,974 in 2021. The officers in charge of these investigations say awareness is the best defense.
Don't go for any attempts or any offer by these cyber criminals regarding the shopping, regarding any product. Don't share your OTP to anyone. Don't share your bank PIN number, that is mobile PIN number, any PIN number to these cyber criminals.
But experts say a strong data protection law will be a big help. They say a lot of basic personal data is readily available with various service providers and can easily be bought and accessed by miscreants.
Unfortunately, all the big companies are relying on third parties. They have different vendors, they have different partners, and the data is freely shared with all of them. Although they are there are compliances they have to follow, but unfortunately that is not followed. So when in case of any data breach, any leak, all these data are compromised and these data are sold.
Cybercrime investigators also say that with technology improving, criminals are able to run more sophisticated cons and frauds. So people should beware of anything that seems suspicious or too good to be true. Cyber experts say there's a small window called the golden hour within which cyber frauds should be reported for the best results. They say the sooner a person files a police complaint, the better the chances of retrieving the money. Police advise that any victim should visit the National Cybercrime Portal and file a complaint as soon as they realize that they have been defrauded. The second option is that they can call the National Cybercrime Helpline number at 1930. They can also visit their nearest police station or head to dedicated stations set up to deal with cyber frauds. Of course, better infrastructure, more manpower and stricter laws will help, but awareness about such frauds and quick reporting is the first and crucial step in fighting cybercrime. In Mumbai, Santiagoda for CNBC-TV18.
Well, a growing menace, and we are going to be tracking cybercrime very closely here on CNBC-TV18 on our new series. Time for us to head to a break, but up next, Apple could be on the cusp of revealing its biggest bet since the iPhone. The stock hits a new record high. Details when we return.
CNG is good, but to get something, you have to give up something. OMG! It's CNG! Big boot!
नई कार खरीदने से पहले ऐको चेक करें और 36,000 तक बचाएं।
If you really are an environment lover, you've got to cut the crap, brother.
The all-electric and environment-friendly MG Comet EV, the no-nonsense car.
Apple could be on the cusp of revealing its biggest bet since the iPhone. The company is likely to launch mixed reality headsets and enter the metaverse in what is potentially the riskiest bet under CEO Tim Cook. Ahead of the announcement, the Apple stock hitting a new record high. Shibani Kharaj reports from the Apple headquarters in California on what we can expect.
Apple's most significant new product launch event nearly in a decade kicks off on Monday when the company is expected to introduce its first new major product category since the Apple Watch, alongside multiple new Macs and software upgrades across its platforms at the Worldwide Developers Conference. Yes, a mixed reality headset is expected. Apple is reportedly set to unveil the Reality Pro, as it's known so far, the most ambitious new hardware product in years, at a rumored price tag of $3,000 US. Also expected are new Macs. The most exciting of the bunch, I would say, is the 15-inch MacBook Air paired with a revamped 13-inch Air and Pro. And then, since it's an event for developers, stay tuned in for updated and refined iOS, watchOS, macOS, iPadOS and tvOS. Now, coming back to the mixed reality headset, just when Metaverse had mostly faded from the headlines, a heavily rumored new product launch appears to bring it roaring back. And let's hope that Apple can find mainstream uses for the headsets that go beyond games that have defined it so far. Maybe for productivity uses, for, let's say, FaceTime calls or seamless connectivity to all of your Apple devices. So let's wait and watch this space for more. The event starts from the company's Cupertino, California campus on Monday, and I will be getting you all the action from the ground.
Yes, we will be watching out for all the developments there. Shibani is going to be live tweeting as well. And the Apple event starts at 10:30 p.m. tonight. Log on to CNBCTV18.com, where we bring you minute-by-minute updates on what's likely to be Apple's biggest launch event in more than a decade, a live blog and plenty more on CNBCTV18.com. More than 12 crore people tuned into Jio Cinema for the Indian Premier League finale. The platform also amassed 800 advertisers during the entire tournament. Anil Jairaj, the CEO of the sports division at Viacom18, is upbeat about growth. He said the time spent by viewers on the digital platform was the same as time spent on television, marking a major milestone for digital sports broadcasting in India.
We were trying to inculcate this habit of long-form content consumption coming onto digital. And that, I think, has been the cornerstone of what we've achieved. If you think about it, we got about 60 minutes per consumer watching IPL on digital. It is, because that is what anybody on television consumes. So that's why it was a major, major milestone for us.
Well, a milestone there for sports broadcasting. Now, Chakan in Pune is well known as a hub for automobile manufacturing, but it is now a new feather in its cap. It is home to the world's largest manufacturing facility for biogas plants. So on World Environment Day, CNBC-TV18's Jusilia K and Shilpa Ranipeta take you inside social enterprise Systema.bio's $1.8 million facility. Take a look.
This 130,000 square foot facility at Chakan in Pune makes prefabricated biogas plants. These plants can be installed by farmers on their farms and backyards to produce biogas using organic waste materials that are readily available on farms. The gas can then be used by farmers as cooking gas and to fuel various machines in and around the farm. This should result in both reduced pollution and lower fuel expenses. The Chakan facility is currently the largest of its kind in the world and boasts of a final capacity of 360 prefabricated biogas plants a day. Mexico-based Systema Bio, which has set up this facility, says it wants to double capacity in a few years.
So eventually we'd like to be able to produce over 300,000 per year. In the short term, we'll produce over 50,000 in 2023. And the maximum capacity for the plant that we've built today is about 100,000 units a year, which we hope to hit in 2024. Of that, about 80% will be installed in India and will be exporting about 20% over the next 2 years. And so the India manufacturing plant will allow us to reduce the price of our products in Eastern and Southern Africa and in other areas of South Asia and Southeast Asia.
This facility will cater to the growing demand for biogas plants in both the Asia-Pacific region and Africa, and Systema Bio hopes these plants will significantly reduce global greenhouse gas.
To make the math easy, if we were to be installed in 50 million farms around the world, each reducing 10 tons of greenhouse gases every single year, that's about 1% of humanity's emissions, and that's the goal that we have between now and 2030.
The company has demonstrated positive unit economics and turned profitable towards the end of 2021. This has helped it raise more funds and expand its global footprint.
Now that we're a profitable entity and really demonstrating that this can work at scale, both scale of the impact and scale of the business, we're able to raise funds that are dedicated for climate finance. And so our next big fundraising push will be on the order of about $100 million to support the project development of new projects around the world, the largest of which is here in India. But we anticipate another 12 countries benefiting from that project development.
Funds alone, however, will not be enough. Systema Bio says government policies that enable and encourage such green initiatives will be crucial if humanity has to make any headway in its fight against climate change, and India's promises at various climate change conclaves like the COP27 are encouraging signs. In Mumbai with Jusilia K, Shilpa Ranipeta.
And with that, it is time for us to wrap up this edition of India Business Hour. But before we go, here's news for students weighing their college options. As per the Education Ministry's latest rankings, IIT Madras remains India's top-ranked educational institute for the 5th time, followed by the Indian Institute of Sciences, Bengaluru. IIT Madras is also the top engineering college, followed by IIT Delhi and then IIT Bombay. Meanwhile, IISc Bengaluru has emerged as the best university, followed by Delhi's JNU and then Jamia Millia Islamia. The Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, retains the top spot for management colleges in India, followed by IIM Bangalore and IIM Kozhikode. AIIMS Delhi once again tops the list of medical colleges, retaining the same ranking since 2018. In the colleges category, Delhi University's Miranda House and Hindu College have emerged as the top two colleges, Presidency College Chennai coming in at number 3. Well, with that, it is time for us to wrap up this edition of India Business Hour. Thanks very much for watching. Do stay tuned. The news will continue here on CNBC TV18.
A road